Hi, first graders. I have a couple pictures up here. Do you see how many are in each picture? What was your strategy? I was using new markers, and I have 4, and I was letting some other teachers use some. How many do I have to get back? It's a pack of 10. I can think about groups of 10 with the base 10 blocks too. Over here, how much money? How many more dollars do I need before I could trade those in for a $10 bill? Do you remember yesterday that we were working on organizing and finding patterns so that we could solve questions with math? We went with the question that said there are 10 apples and some are red and some are yellow. How many of each color? And we started organizing it. This was one of our solutions. We started yesterday, and then you are going to try on your own. Can you pause the video for just 1 minute and look where your work was, where you thought about 10 apples. Some are red, some are yellow. So how many of each color? Are you back? Did you find it? Do you remember we were going to make 2 columns, one for the apples that could be yellow and one for the apples that could be red? How far did you get? What was your strategy? On this strategy yesterday, we started by looking at 6 and 4 because we knew those went together to make 10. And 5 and 5 go together to make 10. And then we decided to use that turnaround strategy, the rule where if 6 plus 4 equals 10, then 4 plus 6. So we could have 6 yellow and 4 red, or 4 yellow and 6 red. And we were continuing on with that way to answer the question of how many of each color with the turnaround rule. Did you use that one? I had to ask a few first graders, and then I wrote their answers because we were over a Zoom. Look at this thinker. What was their strategy? Were they finished yet? I see that they knew that 9 plus 1 was 10. So they started 9 yellow, 1 red. Then they did 6 and 4. And 7 plus 3, that's 10. 8 plus 2, that's 10. 5 plus 5, 10. These are all possible ways that some are yellow and some are red. I know what this mathematician was thinking because I asked, do you see their thinking? What question would you ask them? I might ask them, are you finished yet? Do you think there are more? I might ask them, I used the turnaround strategy. When you saw 9 plus 1, did you also think it could be 1 plus 9? I do see that they probably were thinking about the big number first and the small number second. That's a good strategy. Is that one you tried? Yesterday, I showed you a way to order the apples with markers on a 10 frame. And we started recording it. And we flipped one over, and we still had 1 yellow, and we still had 9 red. Remember doing that? Great mathematicians. Then we flipped over 2, and we had 8 left that were red. And then 3 and 7 left that were red. Do you see the 10 frame today? I'm moving on with that order. The strategy was to turn one over at a time and see how many were left of the other color. What do you think would come here next? I might ask the person who was thinking about the math this way, what are you going to do next? I bet they'd write down 4 yellow and then how many red. Are you seeing it? Here it is. 4 yellow, 6 red. Next would be 5. You're right, and 5 more. Sometimes the strategy is to use a 10 frame or some other way to organize the amount of you have in the group and then find out all the different pairs that fit in that group. Look at this solution. What do you see? What was their strategy? 1 plus 9, 2 plus 8, those all equal 10. The whole chart is filled out. Look at the yellows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all grow by 1. We've practiced one more, one less. Let's see if over here it's 1 less. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. They used a pattern. For the yellow, they did 1 more. And for the red, they used 1 less. And every time it equaled 10. But down at the bottom's a little different because 1 more than 10 is 11. I think when they got finished and checked their work, they may have noticed they didn't have 0. Maybe that would have gone up here. So they used the turnaround rule. They used 2 strategies. You can do that. Ooh, this is great thinking. So let's go back to what you came up with for how to solve for 10 apples. Some are red, some are yellow. How many of each? What does your solution look like? Maybe you'll take a picture of that and send it to your teacher, and then your teacher will know you're thinking. Also, you might want to go back and write about it a little bit in your math journal. Here are my notes. I started with 10 apples, some yellow, some red. And this is how I found out how many could be of each kind of apple, each color. I used a 10 frame. I turned one counter over each time, and I saw what was left. Mathematicians, we're working on what do you see and what strategy did you use. Sometimes we can grow our thinking by looking at other solutions to better understand how we want to solve. And maybe even we'd use 2 strategies at the same time, kind of like that pattern one that had the turnaround rule at the end. So today, I want you to look back at your work and your answer for 10 apples with some yellow and some red, how many of each apple? And then I want you to write a little bit or make a video and talk a little bit about your strategy. Because mathematicians, sometimes we use order and patterns to help us solve a problem.